WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a bottle from the Irish Republic, Irish whiskey, J.J. Corry, for the Irish Whisky Freunde. Freunde is German and means friends. Now on the back, everything's in German, so I'll translate very quickly. Irish Whisky Friends. About 2 years ago, the Facebook group Irish Whisky Freunde was created. There, people meet that love Irish whiskey to exchange and talk about this very exciting world of Irish whiskey. Now, for this particular event, Mareike Spitzer, the owner of www.irish-whiskies.de, traveled to J.J. Corry and County Clare and personally picked the whiskeys for this very special blend. So this blend is, and that's the great thing about J.J. Corry, is they use a nice little pie diagram so you can see exactly what they have here. So we have 60% grain, which was cask number 6839, bottled, distilled in 2016, and malt 15%. Cask 16444, also distilled in 2016. So what we have here is 75% 3-year-old whiskey. Now she mixed, and this is very interesting, 25% of a single cask, number 11236 from 2002. So she took 16-year-old single malt triple distilled whiskey and mixed it together with 3-year-old malt and 3-year-old grain. So it's 60% grain, 40% malt, or 75% 3-year-old and 25% 16-year-old whiskey. So this is a 0.5 liter bottle. This cost me exactly basically 60 euros, about $70 at the moment. 48%, great, and a total of 140 bottles. So there are 70 liters actually just used for this bottling, which is about half of a bourbon barrel. I have bottle number 53, by the way. Now, I was very, very hesitant about this when I started reading up on it. To be very, very honest, that's a tiny little cork here for the 0.5 liter bottle, but it works, and that's all that matters. Because it's like, oh, 3-year-old whiskey, come on. But then Mareike Spitzer actually picked a single malt as well as a heavily peated single malt that was 3 years old from a distillery, an unnamed distillery just north of Dublin. And she bottled it as her own private label, and I was like, this is great. This is really, really good. So she does have a certain finesse, a certain expertise at mixing or choosing young Irish whiskeys and even mingling and marrying them with older whiskeys and making something special. All right, so what we got here? We got a fairly young nose. We got a tiny little bit. It's very light whiskey, by the way. It's not deep, dark. I still have a little bit. I wasn't sure in my old video and in my German video, I actually took out the Middleton Very Rare from 2018, and I wanted to compare it. It's almost that good, by the way. And on the nose, this blows it out of the water. This is so fruity, and this is so a little bit of the furniture polish, and a lot of mango, and a lot of tropical fruits. This is very, very nice. I don't like the finish on this. I think it goes like this, burns, crash and burns at the end. But the nose is very, very good on the very old from 2018 from Middleton. In comparison to this, it's a lighter whiskey. It's much, much younger. It's not metallic. It's younger. And what I really don't get is I don't get the grain poof. I don't get that over exaggeration of the grain whiskey in here. I don't even get anything as old. I don't get anything as young. It's just a nice, solid moment. All right. So we're going to compare it. And what am I going to compare it to? The other one I compared it to the, whoops, I have to get the right bottle here. The J.J. Corry Banner County blend. If you saw my video about this, you know I did not like this bottle. This was actually one of very, very few bottles. This is 70% grain, 30% malt. This was summer 2019. This was not a very big batch at all, but I somehow got my hands on it. Even a smaller batch, I think, was the Goat. This is a blended Irish malt and grain whiskey. This is a total of 80% malt, 50% from 2002, the same stuff basically in here, 30% from 2006, and then it has a 20% percentage of the 2010 grain. So everything in here is at least 9 years old, basically. So did I get that right? Yep. So there's 16, there's 13, and there's 10-year-old grain in here, or 9-year-old grain. All right, let's compare. This was 50%. This is 48%. So not the best, not the worst comparison. 0.5, 0.7 liters. This, as I said, was 60 euros, so 120 euros per liter for that. That's a lot. A little bit more of a mint, peppermint, spearmint moment, and a little bit more of a vanilla concentration. Okay, cheers. Surprisingly good. Now, what happens is it comes in and it's not bad. But then the tiny little bit of that grain kicks in before the 25% 16-year-old single malt can take over. What happens is afterwards the grain supports, gives a little bit of alcohol push here to the single malt and just makes it into a nice finish. And this finish is very strong. And that's where a whiskey is a very, very good thing. What I hated about the very old from Middleton was it didn't finish strong. On contrary, it just crashed and burned. And so this comes in, does a little dip, and then continues on strong. Is it complex? No. Is it a lot of transitions and so on? Not really. Is it a solid whiskey? Yes. Actually, it is. All right, going over here to the Old Tom. Oh, the nose is not developing in a very, very helpful manner at the moment. This is much better. Much better. Much better. All right, so I have a conspiracy theory for you. Now, when Louise, the owner here of J.J. Corry, she started off blending herself. And she had 26-year-old, and she had 13-year-old, and she had 16-year-old, and she had a lot of excellent casks laying around. And let's just say this. It wasn't that hard to create a good blend with great material. All right, can we all agree on that? All right, if you give me 20-some old year single malt and you give me some 16-year-old and some 13-year-old, I think I could probably throw something together that's pretty nice. And that's what she did. Congratulations. Now, I do think there's other people on this planet that might be a little bit more talented at the blending skill than she is. For example, Mareike Spitzer. I don't think I, or many other people I know, could have taken two different types of 3-year-old whiskey, grain and malt, and combined it into such an excellent product. Now, there's a tiny little dip in there. I'm sure she couldn't get rid of that dip without using something very, very expensive, but she created a nice whiskey. The Old Tom, the Banner, a few other of her products so far by J.J. Corry, to be very honest, the juice in there is not great. The marketing, the hype, everything else, fantastic, great job. Even the Chosen, that, I don't know, 20-some, I don't know, how expensive was it? It was amazingly expensive. That was also a great idea. But I'm not sure if Louise is going to be the master blender of her own company for the rest of her life. I'm sure she's going to probably find someone else to be able to carry that torch a little bit brighter and a little bit clearer than she herself can. Sorry, Louise, you're a great businesswoman. You're an entrepreneur, but I don't think you're a world-class blender yet. All right, good. But Marika, she's making her way up there. She's a European class blender at the moment, which says a lot, all right? And this was a very, very nice thing. Actually, if you want to make it even better, 3 drops, wait a second, twirl, sniff, and enjoy. Very good. I'm going to throw out a last conspiracy theory. Where does this 3-year-old juice come from? I'm going to guess Great Northern Distilleries. John Teelings has done a great job with his master distiller, Brian, and they're producing some very, very good stuff. And some stuff that can be fairly young and yet excellent products. And so you take a very nice grain, first fill bourbon cask, you take a very, very nice single malt in a good first fill bourbon cask, you mix it together with 16-year-old Irish triple distilled whiskey, and ta-da, you get something that's very, very nice. 70 liters, 140 bottles only for the German market. Well, so sorry guys. WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of someone who tastes rare and exotic whiskeys. My pleasure to show you once again a bottle you might not ever see and probably won't ever get unless you're in an auction site someplace. That's the way things are. And I think it's very, very fair that the price was 60 euros and not 160 euros for this, which we've had in the past. All right, I'm going to give this a solid C plus on the taste. For value for money, it's a D. It's not worth 120 euros per liter, I'm sorry. But is it an okay whiskey? Yes. Would I buy another bottle if I could? Probably not. Is it good to always have one of the J.J. Corry's bottles open? I think so. Is it even better to have maybe some of them in closed and waiting for your collection? Maybe that's the wiser financial choice, but that's not what I do. I open my whiskey, I share it with others, and I'm very, very proud of that. All right, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Please tell others about this crazy guy in Europe tasting whiskey you might not ever see. This time, J.J. Corry, the special bottling just for the Irish Whisky Freunde Facebook group, which I actually started 2 years ago, and I lead together and I admin together with Marika Spitzer. Thank you very much. All the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.